Right, so this is going to be that video that you've asked for, which is so you can figure out how to do on-click pickup. So basically the way it works is, as you can see, if I click when I'm too far away, I have it programmed that it comes up and says that you're too far away. Obviously you don't need this, but it's in the code, and if you want to add it, great. The objects have their own resistance, so you can't just walk into them and collect them. They do have like colliders and stuff like that. When you get close enough, you can collect them, and then that adds it the same as if it was to walk into it and pick it up. That is what you wanted to figure out. So this is that statue. Okay, so it's its own blueprint. The way I've built it is I'll go into the viewport so you can see. Basically, you can put the paper sprite wherever you want in relation to the cube and the hitbox. The main thing you need to have is you need to have a 3D cube inside it, because 2D sprites cannot be clicked. They don't have on click. So the way around it is you need a cube. Now the settings for it, you can kind of see on here, is that the generate overlap events is on. Character can step on, but obviously we have the box which will not allow characters to step on it, which is how your character can't step on the collider box, but it can step on the physical 3D cube. And it blocks all dynamic. I also have it hidden in game. So basically it's here, but it's never shown in game. So it's always a visible object in the game engine, but while you're playing, it's not physically there. So just remember that, because you need this, else the cursor, when you try and click on it, won't have anything to click onto. If it's hidden or it's not visible, the cursor can't click on it, which is helpful later, because then if you want an object to become visible after a certain object has been placed somewhere else or an event has been triggered, you can then unlock the visibility. So you've got your standard paper 2D sprite as well. Again, this just has character can step on no, block all dynamic, and the box is again visible but hidden in game, so you don't see the obscure little box thing. And the details for that is it's just a collision box, so character can't step on it, so that stops you from being able to walk into it, so it still looks like a tangible object in game. Cool. Next, blueprints. I was going to quickly double check that this is how you set up navigation in your game, so it might be slightly different if you're using like WASD, but I have it set up that my input method is the left click of the mouse. So my whole game just has on-clicked functions. It doesn't have trigger events via walking or anything. Everything is done by left clicking. Everything is done by left click and movement. So that's the movement, which I'm pretty sure we got taught when we started the point-and-click adventure games. But in case you've changed yours, this might be ever so slightly different for you. If not, don't worry. You can look at this, figure it out, do what you want to do. That's all inside my character sprite sheet. So the coding for the statue is obviously inside the blueprint for the object. Now this is going to look a lot more random when I show you different objects that are on click, because they have different functions and they do different things. But basically the one thing you want to do is when you start is you want on clicked on cube, which obviously you can start your code by going to cube, and then on here you have on clicked, or you can literally just search for on clicked and then choose cube. So you can literally just right click on clicked, and then you can just go right add on clicked, right? So the way it works is on clicked cube, you cast to your character, get player character. Now this needs to be here so it knows that you're using the player character and not a different sprite or not a different object. To have the distance set up and the item know that you are a specific distance away, again, this might be slightly different if you're using 3-dimensional movement. I'm only using X and technically Y movement because I'm not using Z. Everything is on a flat plane and my character is just going side to side. So just in case yours is slightly different, you might have to play around with this vector image. So the way it is you get the actor location from your player character. You can get actor location and you can set what's called a vector subtraction. which again, if you search for vector subtraction, you should be able to find it. The way this works is it will find the vector subtraction between the character location and the actor location. So depending on where you're going and where you're clicking from, it will double check it. It will use vector length equal to or less than, and I've set it 350. Now that sounds like quite a lot, but this is done in like, I don't know if it's done specifically by pixels or if it's done in like inches within Unreal Engine, but obviously to us, you can't really tell what an inch is. So you're gonna have to play around with what yours will work at and how far some items might need to be slightly different. For instance, I have a key, which is on a wall, which I want you to be able to click while you're near the wall. So the vector distance is actually different for that item. It's the same string of code, but the vector difference from where the character is positioned to the object is greater than this one, but it's that rule. So what this does is that basically finds out where your character is in relation to the cube that you've just clicked on. Do a branch if statement, true or false. If it's true, you can then just go with whatever function you want it to have. So I obviously have this statue add an array onto my character. It delays stop movement immediately. Now the delay for 0.001 seconds is a single frame. That will stop the character. So as soon as you press the mouse, it will stop your character. It will check instantly. And this, because the stop movement immediately plays from and then you choose your player character and your target character movement. As soon as you click on that object, it won't drag your character to that location. Because if you don't have this, when you click on that, your character will then go to that point as well, which obviously you don't want to have. So if you add the delay and you have the stop movement immediately, this will stop your character moving to that location as well as you clicking on the object. So it helps kind of give that ability to have it either go you're too far away, or this is something you can collect, or you need to get closer, or however you're going to phrase it or word it. I then just have it destroy the actor, or because you've already got the item, you know, destroying actor might not be the most consumable, perfect way of doing it. There may be better ways to run it and have it store somewhere else if you're going to use the item over and over again, but I'm not, so I just destroy the actor. I don't need two of these. I've already got the string on my player character that I needed. It's gone. If it's a false statement, so if I'm too far away, it does the delay movement still, finds my character location, and then I just created a widget to come up on the screen to say like, hey, you're too far away. Now this bit is a bit tricky. Again, I have it set, add to viewport, delay, remove from parent. With this widget, if you want it to go away on next click, I'll try and show you quickly how I got around it. Again, there's probably other ways of getting around this. So this is the UI widget, which I copy and paste for everything else, and I change the text or location of whatever it is. It is a canvas panel, an image, text, and there's a window button, okay? So the window button takes up the whole screen. Now, the widget will disappear in 1.5 seconds or 1.5 frames, which will basically play it, and then it will disappear if you don't press anything anyway. But if you do press anything, on-clicked window button removes it from parent. So if you do left click again while the widget's on there, it just takes that widget straight off, and then you can move freely again. So it kind of feels like, oh, I'm too far away. I can just click again and keep going, right? That's pretty much the principle of how this works. There are other objects which get a bit more confusing with kind of like relations to statements that if I want the player character to be able to get something out of it, or if I want the player to be able to activate stuff after another player does something. But the core value of having it on clicked is this section here, making sure you have a box there. And yeah, hopefully this helps. But that's purely because just to do this, just so you can see if I click, it stays and then it goes away. If I click and then I click again, it goes away. If I click on it, my character doesn't move to that location. I can then move closer and then I can collect it and it gives me what I need. That is the on-click setup feature. Hopefully this helps you all and you can watch it and refer to this. If you get questions, give me a shout. Anyway, have fun with all this.